Easy, healthy lunch ideas and lunch recipes coming up next. Hi friends, it's Elizabeth with Abundant Apartment Lifestyles, where abundant living meets apartment luxury living. And on today's episode, we're going to do easy, healthy lunch ideas and lunch recipes for you to make your life super simple, but still living within luxury. My friends, these recipes are going to be super simple. If you find this video helpful, smash that like button, click subscribe, and make sure that you check out our playlist for other meal prep and other dinner ideas. So the recipes we're going to be focusing in on today are going to be a kid's smoothie or an adult smoothie, chicken enchiladas, and beef stroganoff. Oh, let's dive in. So this video is sponsored by Fond Bone Broth. I will link down in the description link below where you can order a whole case and get it set up on auto ship for the amazing bone broth to be delivered directly to your door. It's sustainable, organic, brewed like beer, infused like tea, sipped like espresso, and level up flavor for any lunch recipe or dinner recipe. Fond Bone Broth is sustainable. It's from organic farms that they partner with for the iconic glass jars stored on the shelf for every part of process designed with our world in mind. Number two, they're also functional, is that every ingredient for Fond Bone Broth is hand-picked and paired to optimize absorption and taste. And number three, Fond Bone Broth is artesian. Their state-of-the-art process is truly wellness made, slow simmered, and lovingly tended to simmer to seal. My friends, I love Fond Bone Broth and personally pay for auto ship to be delivered to my house because it is so delicious, but also the gut benefits. Check out down below our previous video of the 7 benefits of bone broth and why it's so healthy for you to cook with and makes your life so much easier. It's down in the description link below. Okay, let's dive into our first recipe. Our first recipe is going to be a kid's smoothie or an adult smoothie. You can use any type of frozen fruit you want, but the recipe is on fondbonebroth.com. I had some leftover peaches, so I am going to use 1 cup of fresh peaches, but frozen fruit would be preferred for the smoothie to make it more ice-like. 1 cup of peaches is what I used, and then 1 cup of frozen mangoes is what the recipe calls for, but I had some leftover strawberries and mangoes and pineapple, so I did want to end up using that out. Use what you have in your pantry. You can adapt this easy lunch recipe or breakfast recipe for what you have. The recipe calls for 1 cup of orange juice. I did use a half a cup of the passion tea from Starbucks, a half a cup of the heavy whipping cream because that's what I had in my pantry, but you could use orange juice, apple juice, any kind of juice that you have. I did put it in my Kasari blender with my Fond Bone Broth. I used 1 cup of the liquid light to put in the mixture. You cannot even tell that there's bone broth in there. It's the high protein though that is so filling for a lunch recipe. Super healthy lunch, super simple lunch to mix together. Then I went ahead and put in my half a cup of the passion tea, a half a cup of heavy whipping cream, mixed it all together in the blender with 1 teaspoon of coconut oil. Oh my goodness, so filling because of the high protein in the Fond Bone Broth. It was absolutely delicious for a lunch recipe. You could garnish this with a lime wheel, with a strawberry, if you had some leftover pineapple. I like garnishing my drinks to make them look pretty, and little kids like them too. You could put a fun straw into this Fond Bone Broth smoothie. See how it makes it look tropical. Little kids would like it, adults like it. You cannot tell that there's so much protein in it though because of the Fond Bone Broth. So healthy but so filling. You will be full after having this for lunch because of the bone broth. The next lunch recipe we're going to do is having youth tonic. I love to sip on Fond Bone Broth for my lunch. I have 2 cups of bone broth throughout the day for lunch and it's extremely filling. Our next recipe is going to be our chicken enchiladas. I took our Fond Bone Broth, 2 cups of the bone broth. It doesn't matter which flavor that you want to use for it, which is great. It's open-ended on that sense. But pour in your 2 cups of bone broth. You're going to cook a whole chicken. I will link down below the meal prep recipe that I used to make the whole chicken. It's a whole organic chicken from Ayrshire Farms with Gentle Harvest. And take your whole chicken. I did end up using Fresh Jack's Island spice. You can use whatever spices you would like to put in there from Fresh Jack's. With the Fond Bone Broth, with the chicken, cook it for an hour. Very simple. I will link that recipe in the description link below. From there, after we've cooked our whole organic chicken, then you can take a half a cup of onions, and then 2 cups of your organic chicken for your chicken enchiladas. Chop up the chicken, and we're gonna mix and saute the onions with the chicken into a big, I used a cast iron skillet, but you're gonna mix that together along with some cream cheese. I had some frozen cream cheese I had wanted to get rid of, so I put in there a cup of frozen cream cheese along with my Fresh Jack's Smoky Southwest. I did use a 1/4 cup of Fresh Jack's Smoky Southwest, mixed it together like a taco recipe. I did also end up putting in some garlic. I only had 2 cloves, although the recipe does call for a little bit more than that. And mix that together to saute it like a taco mixture. I then used 1 cup of canned corn. You could use fresh corn, use what you have in your pantry. Mix that together in our taco mixture. Again, sauteing it all together to make it this delicious enchilada filling. Put in 1 cup of salsa, mix that together. This lunch recipe is so simple and so easy. I did end up putting a 1/2 cup of some mozzarella cheese I had. I wanted to get rid of it because it was frozen. And then 1 cup of diced green chilies. I use the mild because I'm a baby about spice, but you can make them spicy. And then you're gonna have this great enchilada filling. Oh my goodness. This recipe, this lunch recipe, you can put on it freshly grated grass-fed cheese. I love freshly grated cheese as opposed to pre-shredded cheese because it makes it taste better. So mix that together. You're going to go ahead and start your oven for 350 degrees. I'm making it 2 ways. One is a taco enchilada casserole that's low carb without tortillas, and then the regular version is with tortillas. If you're doing the casserole and the enchilada casserole, simply just put your filling in with a cup of shredded cheese. For your enchiladas, you're going to go ahead and put down a 1/2 cup of salsa into your glass Pyrex dish. You're going to get 5 flour tortillas or corn tortillas, and then take 3/4 of a cup of your enchilada mixture, roll it together, put the open side face down. You'll see that the closed side is face up, and then we're going to go ahead and put some shredded cheese and another 1/2 cup of salsa on top. Put it into your oven at 350 degrees and bake it for 20 minutes. Rolling those enchiladas together is really, really simple. Your children can help you do this, or you can use this as a freezer menu if you're really busy with work. It's an easy recipe that can be very simply frozen, and then put it in, bake it. It can be served with some avocado, with some guacamole, sour cream. It is absolutely fabulous. Look at that. You can make it 2 ways, whichever way makes the most sense for your household and for the portion sizes you want to have. But that is the enchilada casserole. Our next recipe is going to be a beef stroganoff, which is found on foodborne.com. I'm using 1 pound of ground pork from Ayrshire Farms. It's organic. You could use 1 pound of beef. I had a 1/2 cup of onion left over that I wanted to cook with too. So I'm adding some items into the recipe that weren't there just because I wanted to use what I have in my pantry. That's what makes it an easy lunch recipe. 4 stalks of organic celery, and I ended up using a 1/2 cup of yellow pepper. I did not have mushrooms that the beef stroganoff called for, so instead I just substituted peppers in. I did end up sauteing these all together. Of course, I finally chopped them and really diced them small. I had 2 garlic cloves. The recipe calls for 3, but that's okay. I did end up using 2. Simply smash your fresh garlic cloves and then dice them together to put them into your mixture to saute together with your ground beef or ground pork. Make sure it is thoroughly cooked, and mix together in your garlic with your beef, with your onions, and then add into it your vegetables, your grounds, your organic celery, and your organic peppers. This mixture, it smells delicious. Then I added into it the fond bone broth. You could use the different flavors for it. 2 cups. I let the 2 cups of the fond bone broth simmer into the beef stroganoff mixture that I'm making. I used the youth tonic one. Oh my goodness, it tasted so good. 2 cups, let it simmer for 45 minutes on low heat to help infuse the flavors. After 45 minutes, I added a 1/2 cup of the heavy whipping cream together. And then I simply just put this together. I did not have egg noodles. Instead, I used 2 cups of squash. A neighbor had some fresh squash from their garden and ended up giving it to me, but that sauce is so filling. It's a healthy lunch, and it's really easy to make with this healthy recipe. And that is your full lunch meal. It's delicious and very filling. If you found this video helpful, make sure you smash that like button, click subscribe, and check out our other videos down in the playlist. You can also check out Fawn Bone Broth in the description link below to order your auto ship case of bone broth directly to your house. Make it a powerful day, my friends. See you next time.